Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Not Another Rangers podcast. It's an earlier edition than normal tonight because it is transfer deadline day. The window's slamming shut, as they say. And I think is that the copyright slamming shut the Sky Sports at 11 o'clock tonight. So we are coming a little bit earlier, mainly because Ricky needs his bed and he's a couple of hours ahead of us. So we couldn't stay on any later. So we've started a little bit earlier for tonight. Well, if I look back over the game on Sunday, which shouldn't take too long for anybody that's watched it already, which I'm assuming you have. There's not a lot to talk about. We'll pick up with some of the transfer news that's here just now and some of the people that may sign, should sign, will sign. And I've seen it in the comments already. There's just as we go live, Chermite's been confirmed. There we go. I knew that was going to happen, so I was going to say in the comments that please put in the comments if any signings go through because we're busy on here, not going to see. So we'll talk about Chermite. We'll talk about the Cornelius, and hopefully if there may be any more before 11 o'clock comes. So good to have all four of us here tonight. So Cameron, how are you today?
I'm all right, yeah. It was a less eventful weekend than what I was thinking, but here we are.
It was a quiet. I mean, it's hard to believe there was no firm game just over 24 hours ago. It went by like a damp squib before it, during it, and after it. I think it's fair to say. Scott, you're just in for work, so I'll let you get a breath for a wee second. Ricky, how are you doing?
Yeah, no, you took the words. I was just the way to say what a damp squib of a build-up. Brutal game, mate. Absolutely brutal game. And then damp squib. We thought that was going to be the end of Martin, so he manages to hang on by his fingernails. But by the sound of things, he was going to survive anyway. So I'm good, mate. The Rangers didn't completely ruin our weekend, but didn't exactly have us firing coming out of the weekend. So looking forward to the pod, mate.
Good. And Scott, it's obviously your big event over the weekend was you beat me at snooker on Saturday night somewhere out. So before you go on to get that in.
I wouldn't want to mention that, Gary.
So after playing his second time in many years, battered me. So that was unbelievable. That was.
I like the floor with him, Ricky. I like the floor.
Nice. I said to him before, I was like, after it, I was like, you've lulled me into a false sense of security. I think you were that rubbish. It turns out he's actually all right once he starts playing. So that
you said that in the halls. That people could play pro and end up winning money. You know, that was good. I enjoyed the snooker, Gary. It was a lot better than football, wasn't it?
That's
which did the half, to be fair. So there's not a lot to talk about right enough football-wise.
There won't be tons to talk about during the game, and I wasn't going to cover this, but I see Mark's put an email there, so I'll just tell him that he wants to know. The European tickets are out, so that's £148 for the 4 games then. Is that a package for 4 games? That can't be right, is it?
I thought, Gary, do you know?
That's actually reasonably good, I think. And if I was to work out my maths, which I kind of did, that's a £37 a ticket.
It's good.
Which is all right. Reasonable enough. Not great. That's still I need to pay for me and my daughter, so that's 300 quid coming out of my bank soon, but it's still all right. Anyway, so thanks for letting us know that, Mark. I suppose the big news, Scott, coming to you first. The big news on Friday night after the pod and leading right up to the game was about Nico Raskin, and the events have moved on probably a wee bit since then. So he was dropped from the squad. There was suggestions about his conduct and his attitude, and all the senior players on the board and everybody associated were happy with the decision. We've got the transfer window day, and it looks like with 2.5 hours to go, he will be staying. It's already been put out by Rangers Review that will be staying. It's been a bit of a mess over the last couple of days regarding Nico Raskin.
There's been many rumours, many stories, many people telling you different things. We've all heard different things with people who say they're in the know, people who we don't know if they're in the know, and just on social media in general. I'm actually just glad that he's staying, to be honest with you. Obviously, it's not 11 o'clock yet, and him and Martin can put things to bed and move on, because I think it would have been a big loss for us, to be honest with you. I know it's not everybody's opinion, but that's mine. And I think if he has a good rest of the season, does well with Belgium, I think the talking money, we were talking about 9 million, weren't they? I think we can get more than that for Nico. If he plays well this season and does well with Belgium, I think he's worth a lot more than that. Especially where the market is at the moment, I think he's worth a lot more than that. I mean, Celtic get 7 million back for Adamita, which is a very, very huge surprise for me, because he spent 9 million to get him the 7 back. So I think that's good business, because I don't think he's a good player. But no, I think it's good to see. I think he's well advised. I think the manager has been, but at the end of the day, like it or not, Russell Martin's a manager. Even if somebody's like him, somebody's don't. even the players too, but at the end of the day, you have to do what your manager tells you, don't you?
Yeah.
I think Nico has to buckle down, follow instructions, and go on making sure that he's a good player until Russell Martin's sacked.
Or wins the league. Whatever
Or
way it
wins
be.
the league. I think if he doesn't win the league, Gary, he should be sacked. If that's the Celtic team we're up against this season, because I know my time is recently going to see Rangers Celtic games. They're poor, but that doesn't make us better. I just feel they're not the side they were. And look at the sharpness, and look at the pace, and look at the threat. They're very poor all over the park. You can actually understand why Celtic fans are saying things they're saying. But we didn't even have a shot on target against them, so I'm not going to sit here and say we're better.
Yeah. So, Ricky, I suppose a big challenge in terms of the whole Raskin thing is if he is staying. I mean, obviously for him, it's a big year. So it's a Belgian International World Cup year. He needs to play, or else he's out of that. And second, I suppose for us, his value diminishes. One is his contract runs down to a year left, and also the fact that if he's not playing, so it's quite crucial to resolve it.
100%, mate. I think it can be resolved. You know, I think what's happened is, if you can read between the lines, I think Martin is trying to change 100 things at 100 mile an hour, and Raskin is he means well, but if you're trying to change things at 100 mile an hour and 100 different things, and a player is challenging you, even if it's in a positive way and he means well, if he's interrupting and like keeps going on, and it'll put like that's maybe why the senior players were a bit annoyed as well, because it is good what he's doing, and you're okay to challenge the manager, but there's times to challenge the manager and there's times to shut the F up and just get on with it, mate, especially when everything is trying to change so fast. So probably reading between the lines, that's probably what it is. It can't obviously be too serious where it's reached a point where the manager said, I want him out, I want him sold, or anything like that. It's obviously something that the club, maybe even the American owners, have had a little chat to both of them to get both sides, and it's something that can be with the director of football, because he's going to be away for 2 weeks for Belgium. But when he comes back, get round the table. Hopefully now, when the window closes, I think we're all completely sick of this transfer window. For me, the transfer window should be 2 months, and it should start on June the 1st. And finish at the end of July 100% before the season starts. And I think that would be better for all the managers, mate, because it's been really difficult. And I'm not making excuses for Martin, because he's been an absolute disaster since he's came in as manager, mate. But for every manager and stuff like that, and you're trying to implement, you've got so many new players. You don't know if this, well, you see it now with the players that have left today. Cortez has left, Dessers has left. With the turnover is getting to... I wanted it at the start of the pre-season, Gary, but it's mad. We're looking at 14 players in minimum, and what I think I said today, 15 players out, 16 players out, mate. It's absolute madness. So let's get this window shut. Let's everything calm down, and then we need to start seeing proper performances like Victoria pulls in, but defend like we did against Celtic, and the fans will be happy. We need to start seeing that on the park, and we need to start seeing results, because the pressure just now, Ibrox, nothing has changed before the Celtic game, just because everything, the window's closed. Ibrox will be exactly the same as it would have been if Celtic scored on Sunday. Usually at the game, you could probably feel it. It'll be the same for the Hearts match. It'll be the same for the Hibs match. So this is just the only way Martin can get everyone off his back and this noise to calm down, is he needs to start performances and good results. The most important thing is the results, mate. And players like Nico Raskin, if you play him in the right position, will help him get results, because we were badly needed that quality in midfield yesterday. Raskin is our best midfielder by an absolute mile, and he needs to be in that team, Gary.
Yeah. And the one thing will come to the game in a wee minute, in a bit of detail. I suppose the midfield actually played really well, to be fair to Barra and Diamande, so I'll give them a bit of credit for that, and we'll probably talk about that. So I suppose, I mean, there's nothing much else to say, Cameron, unless you've got any opinions you want to give on the whole Raskin thing. You were talking from a transfer point of view that Kenny McLean was the potential replacement if it did happen.
Yeah, those are the rumours that were going about, but that's shut down now, because I believe Norwich put the blockers on that, I think, because they couldn't get their replacement in. Rumours for them, but I think the fact that if the board had made a strong stand in that Raskin's gone, that would signify that there's definitely a massive breakdown in relationship and there's no going back. But the fact that he's still knocking about and is staying, and they are going to have crunch talks once he gets back from Belgium, maybe implies that there's not entirely fault at Raskin's door. Maybe, I don't know, because if you're backing a manager and the manager says I don't want him, then the board would go, all right, see you later, loan obligation to buy, which was what was being rumoured, and the clubs were interested. They would have been interested, but the fact that he's staying says to me that there's more to this than meets the eye. I think Raskin's the type of player. I think he believes that he'll last longer than Martin, and I think he will. So I think Raskin will be secretly biding his time, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Scotland doesn't bide his time for another 2 years and leaves on a free. That would be the worst outcome of it all, really, in some ways. That would be a concern. So, Scott, going to the game, you're smiling away there, don't be smiling at, but we're talking. I'm assuming you're reading the comments, perhaps. Going to the game, I suppose, what we were obviously both there. The atmosphere, I suppose in some ways I was surprised it wasn't particularly toxic. It was relatively supportive with a big crowd. I mean, the stuff you read on Twitter, the stuff you read before you go to the games, as if there's going to be Raskin pictures all around the place. There's going to be a tifo of him standing there trying to shoot Martin. There's going to be all sorts of things, but it was quite tepid, and it wasn't raucous as you normally know from a game. It was quite chilled, I suppose, considering the week before, sorry.
Like I said before, Gary, I think social media is just a very small part. I know it seems massive platform and stuff, and everybody's on it saying their thoughts and saying what's going to happen and saying this and saying that, but it wasn't. I thought it would have been more myself, but it wasn't. It wasn't a lot of atmosphere. I didn't think from both sets of fans. The Union Bears were singing. There's a couple of chants for Nico Raskin, a couple of songs the Rangers fans sung in general as a stadium, but it was more the Union Bears, and to be honest with you, you didn't really hear Celtic fans singing probably until near the end, and it was just a very dour, damp game, wasn't it? Overall, the standard of football, the occasion, the atmosphere, it wasn't like a Rangers Celtic game that you've experienced when you're young through an adult to this moment in time. Even when the ones we were getting beaten or we were winning in, there's always been a bit of tit and tap with the fans and everything else, and a lot of things on in the park, but there was not a lot. I think it was very boring, to be fair, and I think the only person that kind of tried to make him up in the game was Don Robertson. I thought his refereeing performance was shocking. But listen, I said to you yesterday, I thought I gave Martin a bit of praise and respect for changing it. We weren't as hard to break down as we have been in previous games, but Celtic are powder puff up front. The only thing they'll have Maeda and the rest of the guys were, some of them were really, really awful. But he did change it. He went more direct, which I kind of liked. I thought in midfield, with Barr and Diamandi, they tried and they worked hard. And listen, I'm not praising them for that because every person was doing that, but they were involved. For me, Asgard had a job to do, which he'd done reasonably okay. But McGregor's every season, his ceiling's coming down. Do you know what I mean? He's not the player he was. I don't think you have to mark him anymore. But no, I thought yesterday's game, Gary, I thought if it was against anybody else yesterday, it'd have been a more response at the end.
Yeah.
If that was Hearts in a couple of weeks' time and you draw, people were going to be happy. If that was them, like was previously, people wouldn't be happy, but for some reason, because it was them, you accept it. But when you watch that Celtic team play, that's not a Celtic team that would have played years ago, would have run over the top of that Rangers side. It's just a Celtic team went down. Do you know what I mean? And this is a big opportunity for us this season. And if you can't grasp that with two hands, then they've got a problem because they're not anywhere near what they think they are, and what they have been.
Yeah, and I think when one team's in the ascendancy, as there always is, and it has been for decades between Rangers and Celtic, what you need is you need to improve, and our team needs to dip. It's not a case of just you improving and overtaking them. There's always a bit of both, and they're certainly on the decline. So it's whether we can go up the way enough to get past them. Basically, it's been that way. So whether it's Alex McLeish, whether it was Martin Neal and Dick Advocat, or every Neil Lennon and Stephen Gerrard, all these ones over the years, there's always that one team drops a bit, another team improves, and you meet somewhere and hopefully win it from there. So I think
I seen a wee thing on social media. a comment from Neil Lennon and they asked him, he said there was 3 minutes extra time. He put the board up for 3 minutes. I think he said, if I have to endure another 3 minutes of this, I think that kind of hit the nail on the head. I think we're all like that.
No, definitely. In terms of as Scott says there, Ricky, he did go more pragmatic. He went for a 4-2-3-1 rather than his 4-3-3. The centre half, the whole defence sat a little bit deeper, played a bit more direct, put Asgard on, practically what we've done last season. Maybe not quite as direct as that, but that kind of style, which was either clever tactics, you'll say, in the sense of nullifying the opposition, or it was bottling it, some may say, and some have said.
I sort of understand it because of what happened for Bruges in midweek, mate. But let's get things real here, mate. That is the worst Celtic team that has came to Ibrox in the last 10 years. I don't remember they came when like Scales made his debut and they beat us 1-0 with Kyogo, where he got in behind Goldson. The amount their team, right? And listen, we might not catch them this season, and we're still pathetic if we don't, and that's on us, right? But they're at the end of a cycle. They've got Hatate and Maeda left who want to leave the club, but the club's basically holding on to them. They've replaced Taylor, who was a big part of their team, with Tierney, who is absolute biscuit hips, can barely move. But so I understand that Russell Martin didn't want to lose the game, mate, but they were there to attack them and have a go. I thought, I'm not having a go at Martin here, right? Because he couldn't lose the game and he couldn't take a bad hiding. So I understand he wanted to be pragmatic. He wanted to be more competitive in the match. And we were that. Look, the first half, we were the much better team. We were winning all second balls. We turned into Stoke City. Tav was suddenly chucking the ball into the box from 40 yards. Our set pieces were going in. I thought we could have been. I still think our set pieces are rank rotten. I would fire Tyrone still out of Coronation Street that's taking our set pieces in training because honestly, that coach, man. But for me, they were there for the taking, Gary. So I thought he made a big mistake with Moore and Gassama. I would never have started Moore in a game, an Old Firm game, because it's difficult for any player with this type of game to get the pace of it. Even the fans are singing at the start. It's such a crazy game. But I thought that right back they've got, Ralston, is absolutely, he is a Motherwell quality left right back. So I thought to change Gassama, who's our best winger, he should have been attacking him at every opportunity, mate. So even though, like, you can say you understand it and blah, 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 I think there was an opportunity there for us to really go for them. And even a 1-2-0 would have got us 3 points behind. So now the window is shut. The excuses are over for Martin now, mate. You, and we've got Hearts, we've got Hibs, we've got Livingston, and we've got this European game coming up. He's been back to the tune of 30 million spent. Okay, net maybe about 10 million. Two more players announced there, Gary. So listen, the time for excuses is totally over. We need to see a team that is starting to function, that's a bit better in defence, like we were against Celtic, but we want to see us attacking like we were against Victoria Pilsen. So that's what we need to see coming straight. It's going to be tough for them because Rangers are never great after an international break. We never have been. The players always come back. We've got so many players coming back at the last minute and stuff like that. But he has to get a result against Hearts, mate. And that Old Firm game, let's just forget it ever happened, mate, because it was dreadful.
Yeah, no, it was a poor game. Do you know, actually, I was thinking of something. You wouldn't have heard it when the team lineups were announced and Tav name get said. The big cheer, it just made me laugh. Me and my daughter turned to each other and just burst out laughing. You know, people have been desperate to get rid of him for ages, and the loud cheer when he's back in. And I seen somebody in the comments saying, "Who knew after 10 years he's got this long throw that we've not used for the last 9 years," which was slightly bizarre. Mallorca, I suppose, Cameron was probably the one we wanted to talk about. He made his debut after flying in 24 hours before. How did you think he done?
Yeah, no, I thought he imposed himself on the game very well. Tactically on that right side, he was. I think you saw it for the penalty shout. His main threat was running in that channel, just in behind Scales. So Gassama stayed very wide, and then Tav sat quite deep, which meant that Celtic couldn't use their outball, which is Maeda over the top, which I thought was a really good tactical play by Martin. It pains me to say it. And then he had more coming in on the other side. He would come more inside and play off him. And I think the epitome of Miovski was you saw it in the second half where He came, picked up a second ball pretty much in our own half, laid off Gassama. And if you watch him, he's about 15 yards behind Gassama and just absolutely bust the gut to even get into the box. And I think that's what we've been missing. I don't think Hamza does that. I don't think Dessers does that. I definitely don't think Danilo does that. So he gives you something a little bit extra. The one thing that does excite me a little bit about some of the signings we have is they do look like athletes. Miofsky, Asgard, they look like proper athletes that can run. They can drive forward. They're powerful, even physically impose themselves. And I think that's why we started to throw those long balls in a little bit. We've got that more physicality in the team now. But I thought Miofsky imposed himself on the game really well. My only bone to pick was he should have made substitutions after an hour.
Yeah,
because the players were completely shot. The game plan was working. It wasn't executed very well, probably because he'd never played that way before. But he really could. I think he was a bit poor in his substitutions. He should have made them a lot earlier because, as Ricky, as Scott, and as everybody else is saying, they were 100% there for the taking, and they should have been had easy. But we were just too slow to make those decisions, which I think would have won us the game.
Yeah. Scott, so we were at the game, right, and where we sat in the Broomland rear, the penalty incident. So I'm watching that, me and my daughter's watching it, you're watching it, and it looks like a blatant shove in the back now. And then you see Don Robertson going like that all the time as if it's a shoulder. Now, I've also seen the Sky Sports angles and stuff like that later on in the night, but it doesn't actually really show that. It just shows that the foot's getting tangled. I don't know about you, the game back there was a definite penalty.
At the game, I thought, Gary, but watching it back, I don't think it's a penalty watching it back. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's a penalty. I think these things happen. I don't think it's enough for a penalty. But I do think if it's in the middle of the park, it's a free kick, but I don't think it's a penalty. That's just my opinion. If it's up the line, I'd be saying is that the same, it's not a penalty. But at the game, I was going nuts shouting.
Yeah.
Calling them all sorts, but I don't watch it on telly. It might just be the English on TV, but I don't think there's enough in it for a penalty. I can understand why people say yes. It's just my opinion. I don't think it is.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree. Say watching the angles on TV, it certainly doesn't look the one at the game when you're looking directly down on it. You see the shove in the back, and it looks pretty blatant. But
the thing is, Gary, though, is it that I agree with Kerr, right? And 3 years ago, I would have said absolutely no chance. But what's the difference with the one with Dessers with the goal that got chopped off? Because Miofsky did exactly the same thing. He kicked the back of Scales' leg. He got in front of Scales and then kicked the back of his leg. I didn't think the Curtis one, and people were clutching at straw with the Curtis one with Maeda, but I thought the Dessers one that was chopped off years ago was ridiculous. But if you give that, it's exactly the same for me as the Miofsky penalty incident. But you know what it's like in an Old Firm game. Jesus Christ, man. Scales has to pull out a claw hammer and hit one of our defenders over the head, and VAR will still miss it. Puts it back in his pocket, and VAR will still miss it. That's just the way it goes in these games, mate.
Do you remember the one against Dortmund a couple of years ago? I think was it Ryan Kent went in and scored, and Morello scored, and that got brought back to the halfway line for one on Kent.
No, I think I'm saying on the TV angles. I see a lot of people in the comments. I don't think it's a penalty seeing the TV angles. What I'm saying, you're looking down at the game. It looked a blatant penalty. That's two different things. In terms of the goal, then Ricky, we did score. That was John Suter. And I'll be fair to John Suter, really good ball for Tav, really brave header from him. Unfortunately, was about a foot offside.
It's starting to do your tits and being a Rangers fan this season with VAR already, mate. You know, that was we had the Dessers one in the last minute. And I hate it, mate. I know it's modern football. You just can't even celebrate a goal anymore. You cannot celebrate a goal properly anymore because you just with Rangers now, you just have that feeling there's going to be something wrong with it. And as soon as you see the line, you're like, oh, no, Jesus, come on, boys, you know. Because we deserved it at that point, because that was probably the stage of the match where we were putting the most pressure on Celtic. We had Stoke City froze into the box. We had players running, so it was unfortunate, mate. But it was definitely offside. We'll get clipped all over Scotland if we're sitting here. That was a yard onside. I seen a player. I seen no, it was definitely offside, man. So nothing you can do about that. But our players need to get better at staying onside. Hopefully with Dessers finally moving on. Woohoo! then we'll be a bit better at offsides, mate, going forward.
And I mean, VAR's a nightmare. If anybody's seen the Fulham game at the weekend, when the guy did a pirouette and lands on a guy's toe and they disallow the goal for a foul, that's just some of the decisions.
They've already said that was wrong. They released a statement.
I know, but it doesn't help Fulham, though, does it? I mean, this suddenly the refs are all famous, and get that in the bin. Honestly, I don't want to hear from these fools on TV. We made a mistake. It was so bad, and we're sorry. Don't be sorry. You're paid millions. The refs are full time in England, and Fulham had no chance after that. It was absolute waste. These decisions are mental, mate.
Do you remember the Gary O'Neill when he was at Wolves? He had about 8 or 9 go against him.
Yes.
And he did that big interview and he went, people's jobs are at risk here.
Exactly. It's crazy, man.
Russell Martin had a good few with Southampton at starts. I can't remember, there was like an Arsenal game or a Man City game that was a blatant one that was given against him as well when it was the 1-0.
He deserved that.
That's his fault. So that's why. So just to wrap up in the game, there was no other instance to talk about, really, I suppose. In terms of the players that played well, I think Barron was really good. Barron came in for the cold. He's been given a lot of criticism by fans, Cameron, about not being good enough to play, not being able to pass the ball. I thought he was excellent, worked hard. Diomande, who's been abysmal all season, was probably Rangers' best player in the day. And obviously Tav and Suter probably was the other two that jumped out to me as the kind of 4 best players. Ironically, the old guard, funnily enough, that people wanted rid of.
Well, they've got, last season, we had a good record against Celtic, didn't we? So their mentality is they're up for those games. They've got that belief. Whereas the other ones I'm not so sure. But Barron, there's a player in Barron. There's a really good player in Barron. I love him. I love him to pieces. But I think what he lacks is an experienced number 6 that he can learn from. Someone like a Stephen Davis that he can learn from. He can watch in games. He can listen to in training. I think that's just what's missing for him because he is our most natural 6. And that you saw that. I mean, we played a double pivot yesterday, so it probably wasn't the same. But you see the difference by having a natural number 6 in front. It makes a huge difference to any team. They can see the game, they can communicate, they can pull players in, and they can be that little bit of protection in front of the 2 centre halves. But I hope he kicks on. I really do. I hope he gets a huge amount of confidence and kicks on because I think he could be a massive player for us for the next couple of years.
Yeah, no, it was really good. So in terms of players that didn't look so good, Scott, and Giga at the game, I'm watching the game, and every time the ball went anywhere near him, he's giving panic stations. Since that sending off against Dundee, he's completely flipped and became this Liam Scales for last season or the season before. Terrible with the ball at his feet.
Yeah, he's for some reason he gets a wee bit panicky, doesn't he? I mean, I thought when he came through the first couple of games, he looked very good. He looked very calm, but now he's panicking for some reason. His passing, his distribution's not the best, and we know Suter's isn't the best, but I heard Marlon saying if they two and Butland were passing it about and taking time off and keeping possession, but beneath you do that, I start to panic because it's only one pass and the other team's in. But no, I mean, and like you mentioned, Diomande, I thought Dio put himself a bit apart there. He was tackling, which he doesn't really do against other teams. But I thought he lacked distribution. I thought that was poor from him. And Barron was the same. But Connor Barron is not getting the same technical ability as Diomande. So I thought I felt he had to make more of an impact in the game, as in taking the game to the Saturday night, which I thought he failed, but he worked his arse off. But to be fair, like I said earlier, that's a minimum requirement when you're playing football, work your arse off. If you don't work your arse off, then you should be in the park. And Asgard, like I said, had to follow McGregor, but didn't impose himself enough. Problem I've got with Asgard is he's very technically gifted, and he's got 2 good feet and he controls really good. But he doesn't use his size enough for me. Maybe I'll learn that up here. Obviously playing the league and it's different down there, you need more time in the ball. So I think we can use his size more when he's playing in Scotland. That'll benefit us a lot.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you all the same question, right? From interest now. So we came to the international break. We've now got 2 weeks off. Russell Martin obviously got the draw against Celtic. Do you think that the passage of time that happens with a 2-week international break, getting the draw against Celtic, will calm things down a little bit, or is it literally just get to the next game and if you don't win that, it's knives are out?
I don't think it's the draw against Celtic's not done anything for him, Gary. But what I think that fans just have to accept is the Americans obviously were at the training ground and spoke to the players on Friday. A bit like David Murray used to back in the day, to be honest, right? You know, they got all the players together and told them basically get their finger out their arse, and that Martin was going to be here long term. This is the project that the guys believe in. I mean, it's quite sad that they have to do this that early to get across to the players and the staff that this is the project and you better start getting behind it. So it's good that they probably did that. So it gives everyone a bit of peace of mind, and we all know. I mean, there's no way. I think fans could force Martin out if we lose to Hearts and then we lose to Hibs, because I think Ibrox will be absolutely crazy if that happens, mate. But it's up to him. He needs to turn it around. Gary, we've had a terrible start to the season. We've had the worst start. I've seen somebody put 30 years. It's 40 years since John Gregg. It's our worst ever start to the season since the 80s. And there's another record with John Gregg with the points total at this time and stuff like that. So it's got to get better, and he's got to turn it around. He's been backed. There's no excuses now, mate. So we'll have to start seeing improvements.
Yeah. So say to yourself, Cam, do you think the 0-0 draw in a poor game it has put the knives away for a little while?
No. Because it was the manner, wasn't it? It was the manner in which we drew. We kind of, the stats tell you everything that there was. There wasn't really much doing. Ricky used the analogy on Friday night. It was two tramps fighting over a bag of chips. It was probably two tramps throwing dog shit at each other, to be quite honest, wasn't it? So I don't think it buys him much. If he gets beat against Hearts, he's under it massively, because the fans are not with him, and the fans will soon start to vote with their feet. And once you lose the fans, you don't get them back. So I do think if he doesn't beat Hearts, the pressure's on him straight away, regardless of how we perform. Even if we perform well and still get beat, pressure's massively on him, because then that's 5 games, no wins in a league season. It's just not even remotely acceptable.
Yeah. And Scott, you went up sacked last week, the week before that, whatever it was, you know. So
I said to you, Ricky, before the first game of the season, it'll be here until Christmas. I just feel any Rangers manager not winning any one of the first 4 league games, you're under pressure yourself straight away. You put yourself under pressure no matter who you are. Different maybe European games, but it's SPL. You should be winning at least 1 or 2 of the games, especially the start we had. And he's going to take yesterday as a moral victory, because it shows you he can change it. Not he doesn't want to, he can change it. But I think he done that yesterday. He knew he couldn't really lose it, so a point was better than getting beaten and getting abused again. But I think he's here for a while under new owners, Gary. I think they will give him time. But I think he's under pressure. I think you yourself, if he draws against Hearts or loses, he'll be abused again. If he wins that, it's only going to lay it off until the Hibs knock us out of the cup. It's the way he's put himself on. There's a lot of people didn't want him in the first place, which isn't fair to him, but that's the way people think. And then because the start he's had and the way he comes across, people think he is arrogant. I think that myself, but I also think that maybe just him. And I don't know him personally, so he might be different. If you know him personally, that might be his mannerisms. You might think that's just Russell Martin. But I do think he's going to be hitting his head against a brick wall every time he drops a point or loses. That's just the way he's going to be at Rangers. No way he can get through this until he gives us all a big finger at the end of the season if he wins something like that. Then he can turn in and say, I've done it my way. But until then, he's going to bump his head against a brick wall all the time. He'll drop in. That's just the way the fan base is against him at the moment.
Yeah. So, Ricky, transfer deadline day. It's a big. We're bringing in players, but I did see there that it's just been confirmed that it's a real Dessers after 53 goals.
Oh my God!
For £3.5 million, I think it is, and off to Panathinaikos over in Greece. So you obviously were a vocal fan of Ricky of Cyril over the period. So I want to come to you and get your thoughts.
Thank F, I will never need to watch that man in a Rangers jersey again. Even when he came on, the drop off of Majowski to him. Majowski was quality, running around. You can tell he actually knew what lines he was supposed to be running in. Dessers just used to close his eyes and just chase dreams, fairies in his head when he was running around the park, mate. It's good. Listen, we all know about Dessers. It's not just me slagging him off. Dessers had moments where he was phenomenal. He had games where he was absolutely ridiculous. He had games when he was world class. Fenerbahce away, he was unplayable. He was absolute world class. But I've never seen a striker go from world class to Vauxhall Conference League so fast in my entire life. And the unfortunate thing with Dessers was it was more Vauxhall Conference League performances than it was the world class performances. But he could finish. He scored some great goals with Rangers. But I'll know. There's not been a lot of Rangers players in recent years that I'm going to miss, Gary. And you see that when they leave the club. There's not that many that go on. I mean, Egerman started well at the weekend, and I'll see how he gets on in France. And listen, Dessers was a good professional. He was a good lad. But for me, if he'd stayed as part of this Rangers team, it would have been an absolute disaster. So I'm glad that he's moved on. We've brought in an absolute superstar from Everton, and we've got Miovski now. So let's see how the season goes, mate.
So, of his 52 or so goals, Ricky, what was your favourite Dessers goal?
The one he scored some big ones in Europe. Probably Fenerbahce, I would have to say, because that night nobody expected us to beat them. That was the last 16 of the Europa League to knock out Jose Mourinho's Turkish team, and you seen when they come to Ibrox, they were a quality team. That was probably our best performance of last season under Ferguson. I better get it right tonight because I said come on and got absolutely slaughtered in the comments the other night. So no, it was a great night, and he scored. I mean, his goal at Old Trafford, he scored some world class goals for Rangers, mate. But I'll not miss the guy. But I hope everything goes well for him. Panathinaikos, a bit of a strange move. We've got a good money for him as well. Fair play to the club. You know, I thought we got a good fee for him and stuff like that. And I think we have done good business in the way with the money that we've taken in. I think the money for Yefte was ridiculous. We absolutely robbed that Brazilian team. I hope we didn't give them the right address for Ibrox. But we've taken some good money over the summer, mate. So I'm very happy with the business that we've done. And now it's up to these new players to make sure we don't miss these old players, because these old players didn't achieve what trophy-wise in that one League Cup. Probably Dessers won when he was at Rangers, and as we speak about all the time, mate, the only thing that matters at Rangers is trophies, and all of these players that are moving on have not won enough trophies. Like Raskin can moan at managers and shout at managers and speak at managers, but guys, wait until you get some silver in the trophy cabinet before you think that you can be the manager of Rangers. That's the way I see it with all these players, Gary.
Yeah. And Cameron, your favourite Dessers goal, do you have one?
Probably maybe the United one, because my best mate's a United fan and I was going absolutely mental in the local when we scored that, but I was heartbroken about 2 minutes later. It was either the United one or the Betis one. I thought the Betis one was when we really saw a glimpse of what Dessers could do.
Yeah, that was a cracking goal, actually. And Cameron, get £3.5 million for a guy that turns 31. Pretty much got your money back, if I remember rightly. It was about 3.5-4 million at the time, wasn't it? It's pretty good going.
Yeah, that's really good going, to be fair.
But there's a reason why, I suppose. I mean, he's a guy that's probably bid the most for that 2 years he's been at Rangers, because he does score goals in it. That's the worry. Scott putting the chat earlier on. We were talking about him, Czerny, and Egerman have scored about 50 odd goals maybe between them last season. We've lost those goals, and we're not scoring goals at the moment this season. So that's what we need. Chabiti and Miovski and Danilo as well to chip in with over the course of the season. Cameron, still with you.
Oh, sorry, sticking with me. Right. Yeah, I suppose you need that. I mean, I suppose there's a lot of people are suspicious of the Chabiti transfer, but I think you got to give the boy a chance. Miovski's proven at this level. I think he will score goals. Gisama's, if he can find his form, he can pitch in. I think when we won 55, we had goals coming from everywhere. There wasn't a single source of goals, so you need that in any team to be successful. So if you can get your wingers chipping in, even get the 2-8s chipping in, as long as your strikers are scoring, you should be okay. But we need goal scorers in the team, and that's something that we've severely lacked over the last couple of years. And Dessers has missed an awful lot of chances, an awful lot. He scored some great goals, but I definitely think the season when Clement came in, I think if we'd had an out-and-out striker, a clinical striker, I think we probably come away with 56 on that one, because he missed. I remember, was it the Ross County game? In particular,
Yeah,
we lost 3-2.
Scored the score as well. Remember scored
He
then.
did score, but my God, he missed sitters. My God, he missed some sitters that day. So even if we do claw it back, it'll be close. You need strikers taking the chances because that could be the difference.
Yeah. Scott, so let's talk Tigers. So, unless you want to tell us about a favourite Cyril goal, but before we talk about the newcomers.
No, Gary, listen. We all gave Dessers criticism, right? Everybody did. Maybe more so Ricky, right enough, but we all gave Dessers criticism. But he came and done what he was paid for. He scored goals. The striker. Strikers miss more chances than score. Doesn't matter who the striker is. And we can say if he'd have done this and done that, but if he'd have scored more goals for the rest of the team, we might have won the league, not just Dessers. But listen, he's got Old Trafford was superb, I have to say, and that they'd just been able to defend Gary. It'd have been never forgotten about. Because people still like talk about it now, but if they won that night, they would have been forgotten about it because it was superb, the finish. But I'll have to see the one against Betis away was better for me, just the way he done it. But listen, like I said earlier, we all slagged him, we all criticised him, but I have to say he done well when he was here, and it was getting the money back between the pay from his good business, and he wants to play football, and obviously he's not going to be first choice. So I just wish him all the best.
No, I'd agree. I think it'll be one of these strikers. I think in years to come, people look back on fondly. Funnily enough, apart Ricky, obviously, but most I think they will because they'll remember some of the goals in those moments when you watch it on the TV screen. So Scott, we've signed to very little fanfare, in fact, to no fanfare at all. It seems to be from the fans that Chermiti from Everton for 8 million rising to 10 million. Judging by the comments in here tonight and from everything you've seen across social media, it's a disastrous sign already without anybody seeing him play.
Listen, I've not seen him play. I've asked a few people who have seen parts and who know more about him. It's live in England and stuff like that, and he said the boy's got a lot of potential, but he said that horrendous injury at Everton. I don't know if that's true or not, but as I was told. But I just feel, listen, this is not on the boy, it's not on the kid, this is on the club that gave him that fee. Everton wanted that money, Rangers were willing to pay it. It's not the kid's fault. So when he comes here, we have to get behind him, support him, see what he can do. But aside from that, I just feel it's a hell of a lot of money for us to be spending on somebody with potential. I get Miovski one because he's proven in Scotland. You can even get maybe buying Kent for that money, just a bit less because he'd come up here and done well. And even Andrea Flo done well at Chelsea, but buying somebody with potential for £8 million, it's not like we're in the English Premiership, whereas we can write off £8 million and say, right, that doesn't bother us because we're not going to miss £8 million. That's a hell of a lot of money, Gary, for us to be spending on somebody with potential. We're hoping he's going to be well, considering we're still looking for a few other positions in the team as well. So I hope he comes and sets his head on fire. But I can only wait until I see him play before I can judge him in that.
Yeah. And Ricky, do you know what is it? I read some of the days at Tyreek George, or whatever, the boy for Chelsea who's played 9 games, he scored 1 goals away somewhere for £25 million.
Gary, I hate the English Premier League now, mate. I mean, Liverpool spent 500 million after Klopp giving it the big one a few years ago, mate. They've spent 500 million this summer. How was other teams? I mean, I know PSG spent the most money and they won the Champions League last season and they play good football and everything. But I mean, football's 2-3 tiers now, even in these European competitions. Like how the English Premier League is a Super League now. There's no doubt about it. And the games are pish, mate. Honestly, like how you watched Rangers Celtic yesterday, and then you were excited. Okay, let's watch Liverpool Arsenal. That was an absolute snooze fest as well. Until what a goal it was from the boy Soboski into the top corner. But honestly, mate, like the money. Like it's even in Turkey and everything. Where's all the money coming from in Turkey? They're buying Ederson and the guy, the striker that cost like they're paying him absolute ridiculous money. I don't know where all these teams in Europe are getting all this bags of cash from, mate. But I wish football could have a reset and start again. I liked it in the 90s. I think the English Premier League was at its best when it was in the 90s and stuff like that. But I think it's just got progressively worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And even Man City, who's spending all that money, Pep's tactics are outdated now. He's absolutely struggling. So he just goes and buys another goalkeeper. They bought one goalkeeper. He lasted 3 weeks. Oh, let's go and get PSG's goalkeeper, mate. And it's just, I know somebody's saying Turkish barbers. It could be the case. But it's crazy, Gary. It's absolute bonkers. And we're bringing in a player from Everton for 8 million that's basically never kicked a ball for them. And we're suspicious and thinking, oh, wait, this is crazy. And you've got to give the guy a chance. For me, there's a lot of people that people just need to calm down a wee bit, because I feel sorry for the kid, man. The kid's going on social media going, oh, I'm signing for Rangers, I'm so excited. You're pish, you're crap, you're rubbish. You're thinking, Jesus, what's this? Who's these people? I've never even played for Rangers yet, man. It's just the world we live in now, Gary, is just it's a bit bonkers at times. And but give the guy a chance. And I'm excited about Cornelius, the defender, the left centre back as well, because I think that's a position that we badly needed. That you can move John Souttar back to right centre back, because I think John Souttar's better at right centre back anyway. And then him and Giga can sort of. So you've at least got 4 centre backs. I'm surprised we never brought in a left back, if I'm being honest. We're just going with one because we don't really have anyone in the squad that can even. I know they're going on about Cornelius can cover there and stuff like that, but we don't actually have a proper backup left back. So that's one of the positions I'm a bit surprised about. But everything else now, unless there's a few surprises towards the end of the window, look quite well. We're linked to have a number 6, a French guy today. He looked quite good. So we'll see if there's any surprises. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going straight over to the Journal, because they were doing a good show. Doug was on fire the day with the graphics, and so as soon as I'm done with you 3 boards, I'm away to watch a proper podcast. So, all right, brilliant. They're doing till 11. I think they're doing till 11 o'clock tonight. So no, good on them, and let's see if there's any surprises when we get up to 11 o'clock tonight, mate.
Yes. And please watch this one first. People, viewers, before you head to the Journal, don't listen to what Ricky says. So much as the Journal is good, you stay on this one till the bitter end, then you can go and watch whatever you want. Cameron, you probably know more about us than from being down south. And £8 million, Rangers' largest signing since Tory Andrew Flo 25 years ago. A lot of money, but arguably coming from Sportlism's academy, has a lot of potential there. Maybe meets. I think the argument is Dessers is away because he's a goal scorer, runs offside. Chermiti's maybe more of a style of player that suits what Martin wants or needs.
He's no mug. He's a physical guy. He's got a big frame. He's quite good in tight areas, and he's a poacher. That's what he is, and he's good at linking. But if we're talking about a goal-scoring record, my dad mentioned something to me today. Ali McCoist only scored 8 goals for Sunderland before we signed him. And he went on to score 250 goals for us and then went to Kilmarnock and only scored 9. So he only needs to get it right at one club, which is ours. So, and even Dessers, you've got a lot of people going, we shouldn't have sold when we signed him. That was one of the big issues that people had when we signed him in the first place. He didn't have consistently hitting 20s. He was getting 9, then maybe 10, and then maybe 15. So give the boy a chance. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, we are a club who we will spend big money on players in the hope, and young players especially, that we can sell them for double that. Because as things stand with the coefficient, we're not going to make money from European football. It's not going to be our main source of income, so it has to come from somewhere else. So, $1 million, and it's a risk, but there's potential. He is a good player. Everton don't spend 15 million quid on a player who's rubbish. So I've got faith that he will hit the ground running. I think he'll surprise a few people, because I've seen obviously you watch clips of players, they're all the best bits. You don't see the bad bits, but he does look like a real physical player, and that's something that we absolutely lack up front. You've seen it at St. Mirren. No one could go near Gogic. No one could get near him. He would be bullied. Everybody got near him. We need that bit of physicality in there. So if he gets it right, we could be looking at potentially a £20 million sale. If he gets it right. He's only 21, young lad. And with anything, if you win trophies, that adds millions onto your value. People forget that. We're selling Dessers for the 3.5 million. Imagine what we could sell him for if he'd had a couple of league titles to his name.
Yeah. And you know, some of these younger players, so if you look at guys like, you'll know better about Gokeres, there's a whole pile of players that have kind of worked their way and went away somewhere, not done that well at the clubs they're at. And look at them now, you know, they're now superstars across the ones that went for Arsenal and went for these teams to other ones and now come back for 40, 50, 60 million. I'm not saying that's going to be the case with him, but, you know, write a guy off because he's had trouble, he's an injury plagued.
Well, look at O, who played for Celtic. He's now completing a deal to go to Stuttgart for over 20 million.
It fell through. Celtic said it fell through. They were about to get 4.5 million of that deal, and that fell through today as well, man. Everything Celtic's touched today is falling a bit.
They've been rejected by Fofana at Chelsea. He's always got.
He failed his medical. He failed his medical. Something came up in his medical, so they cancelled the move. So more bad news for him.
You know, he was Celtic bought him for 3 million quid, not rated at all, didn't do well, and now he's been linked with over 20 million. Transfer.
Exactly.
I think that's it. I think we need to calm down a bit with these ones, just judging somebody before they've even had the press conference, which is a bit scary. And Scott, you know, we were talking.
Gary, I think it's not so much judging the player because none of us really know.
Right.
I think it's the fee involved. We're all scared spending that money in case he flops. Do you know that way? I think if he'd have seen him and if he'd the same maybe record as Miovski and stuff like that, you'd think, well, that's good business, get him in, but it's because he's young and nobody knows what he's about, and I think that's a big risk because we don't really spend that type of money.
So conversely, Scott, should we not be excited about that we've got new owners that are actually going to spend £8 million on a player?
We should be, Gary, we should be, and you're right, and I said earlier, until I see the boy play, I can't judge him. It's just the fear factor of spending that money and then the guy flops, you're like, do you know what I mean? Because it's happened to us in the past, so it's like old wounds opening up. When it's happened to us, Kent walks away for nothing, we have to find him for that money and stuff like that. So you're thinking, is this going to happen again? It's just a case of all wounds going back to haunt you. But Cameron's right. I mean, the boy might come here, hit the ground running, score a couple of goals, and they win stuff, and then we double our money, treble our money, and that's obviously what to do. But it's just, maybe I'm showing my age, maybe I've just got a bit of fear factor, spending £8 million on somebody I don't know.
No. No, it's huge. It's a huge gamble to spend £8 million on somebody, but I think it's the fact that we're so negative about it. It should be exciting to our biggest transfer fee in 25 years. If it had been somebody like, I don't know who you get for $8 million, Kieran Bowie, is that the one getting for $8 million? Because you know what
10 million. He's 10 million apparently.
We got him in the summer for 220,000.
Yeah, I know Celtic are wanting him. But they're saying 10 million.
Was it Scunthorpe? He was at Scunthorpe or Northampton. I'm not sure what one it was. They film him on loan.
But it's a bit early though, boys. Like he's been all right, but he's no scored for it's a bit early to be with this Bowie thing. He's done good. He looks like he holds the ball up, and he's a promising player for sure. Like, and he started the season on fire. But I think you just, if I was Rangers, I wouldn't be going near that even for $5 million. I'd rather let him have a season at Hibs and then judge at the end of the season. If he's okay, he's done it for a full season now, you can see, give him a couple of seasons. I think sometimes we're too quick to grab these players thinking, oh, they're brilliant, and then you just waste the money there, you know.
Yeah, I watched Bowie for nearly a year and a half at Raith Rovers, and the manager come up and the club put an offer in, and then Fulham gazumped him because he offered him £1 million, and that was a lot of money to Raith Rovers, and they went,
yeah.
And never really, obviously, a lot of English teams do this, they sign all the best young talent. Can make it if they don't. They move them on.
They bought somebody from Fletcher Boyd for £1 million or something like that. That's a young talent, and hopefully we'll see where they go.
A couple of Rangers young lads are went to Newcastle as well because they didn't want to sign. So
what striker who scores 20 odd goals a season is available for £8 million?
I know.
It ain't
especially in the English Premier League. I'm surprised we're taking anyone from the English Premier League. I mean, you see. Gary's gone on about it earlier. Even the Championship now, and the fees that they're paying in the Championship is absolutely ridiculous. It's high water. It's high watering. It's both. That's what it's both. Care. We can't even compete with that now. That's what I'm saying. Like we were jealous 5 years ago of the teams in the bottom half of the Premier League, and we are still bigger teams than all of these teams. Of course, we are bigger clubs. But even in the Championship now, like, it's going all the way halfway down that league. You know, we can't even compete with them anymore. The talent of the pool talent is getting smaller and smaller and smaller for Rangers because and our academy is an absolute shit show. So we're not producing players to offset that. We should be producing one or two players that you think could at least be in the squad a year, mate. But I think everything needs to be looked at, and I hope that's happening in the background for me, Kerr, because we need to be thinking out the box, like Cam said. I thought he made an excellent point about the European thing. They're saying 27, I think, not next season, but the season after, we're going to be in the Conference League for coming second, unless Rangers and Celtic have a good year in the Europa and we can get some of the...
That's the qualifying round, Ricky. We don't even get...
I know, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
the big ones want to go and play themselves, and leave the rest just to fight for the...
100%.
And also, I think, I can't remember who it was, made a good point yesterday. Scotland's a hard sell to people.
Oh, definitely.
The players,
Neil Wennon.
come
Neil
and play
Wennon.
in Scotland. For what? It's freezing cold. You know, you're playing on plastic pitches half the time. Not anymore because they're banned. So unless you've got European football, players aren't coming.
I'll always...
It's a harder sell to English people coming from English leagues than it is actually for foreign leagues.
I always laugh, Kerr. I laugh at that girl from Rangers TV when it'll be the same with these two guys we've just signed. So you watch Rangers games and they're like, yeah, I watch Rangers all the time. You know, Defoe. I remember Defoe saying, I watch Rangers all the time. I watched the Old Firm game yesterday.
So, Ricky, before we move on then for Chermiti, now we don't know what he's like. We don't know what he's going to be as a player. One of the things we've said a lot is we need the right style of player up front. You know, Dessers, Danilo, and Igaman, none of them fitted the style that was going to suit Russell Martin's team, if you want to call it that. You know, having two new strikers in there that probably, I'm assuming, have been bought because they do match those attributes that's needed is a positive.
100%, mate. I hope we're away to start seeing two strikers because I've been saying it all the time. We don't need to be. We're in Scotland. Get two strikers up front, and if it has to be 3-5-2, and you play one wing back and one winger, or you do it in a different way, I think we've got the players, and we should have the flexibility. We always do it where if Rangers are losing in 60, well, he was struggling to do it because he's not had a lot of strikers fit since pre-season. Obviously, Dessers knew he was moving on, Igaman and stuff like that. But we always do it in the second half with 10 minutes to go, 20. I'll get a striker on, get another striker on, get another striker on. Go for teams from the start of the match, Gary, because formations are very fluid nowadays anyway. Like 4-2-3-1. Cam will know more about this because he's one of these. He's like a Joshua Barry. He knows all this. But they're very fluid. You play 3-5-2. You're not defending. Like you're not always defending with three players. Like it changes with players all over the park and stuff like that. So we've got two quality strikers now. And Miovski, who I think could be great in a two, and you've got a big, powerful boy up front as well. And the better teams in England are going back to two strikers because defenders don't know how to handle it because they've been brought up playing against one striker. When there's two and it's just chaos in the box, the defenders are like, oh my God, what's this? This is strange. I don't know what's happening here. So I would like to see us be very flexible when the window closes after the international break, and I think it would be great to see us playing with two strikers, especially the two new ones we've signed. And then I think Danilo gets a hard time, and he has been he's not taking his chances that he's had since pre-season, but he always played better in a two with Igaman. They were much better together. So we've got the strikers to do that, and I hope that's something that we see with that flexibility, because Martin changed it against Celtic, so he can change it against Hearts. He can change. Okay, Hearts and that and Hibs is maybe a little bit different, but when you're playing Livingston at home and you're playing these teams at home, just surprise them because they think it's easy playing against Rangers the last few seasons, and it shouldn't be like that. We should be the team that's putting the fear of death into them. I want to see a few 5-0, 6-0. Because that's what Martin started doing at Southampton when he went on that good run. So I absolutely would love to see that after the window closes and after the international break.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, Cameron, but our second signing of today is likely to be the Canadian international Derek Cornelius, who's a left centre-back but can play left-back, which probably answers Ricky's point about not having a left-back. He's going to play there some of the time. So positive profile is experience. One of the things we said in the comments a few times is a lack of experience we have with all the new signings. And left side has been one of the big gaps we've missed up to now.
Yeah, he's a great signing. 27, so he's not yet in his peak. He's, I believe, 6'4", so big, physical. Wins a lot of his aerial duels. He's very aggressive. He's not slow either, which is good because we were linked with quite a lot of slow centre halves. So he's not the quickest, but he's definitely not slow. So if you're playing a high line, he's probably not a bad thing to have. There's been a lot of talk about the 3-5-2. I can see the 3-5-2 working. It makes you a bit more defensively solid. But yeah, and I suppose I can see the logic behind not signing a left back because you've got Aarons who can play left back. I know we don't want him anywhere near the club, but he can still play there. You've got Sterling to come back as well, and then you've got Maghoma, and now you've got this new lad in there now. So you have got cover in the left back area. So it seems that they're going for versatility as well. I think it's probably one of the draws of him. He's quite versatile on that back line. He was very good at Malmo. I don't know if anybody remembers when we played Malmo a couple of years ago. He was very good. 2 league titles with Malmo, so he knows what it takes to win. Not too bad at Marseille. So yeah, I think that's probably one of the best signings we could have made this summer, to be fair.
Yeah. Ricky, are you excited about that then? So the big strapping centre half that's 27 years old, playing at Marseille, 22 games or so last season. He's obviously not, and as Cameron says, he's won league titles and been around the block.
Yeah, no, Canada's actually, these are the sort of gems that I wish we'd brought in a few more of, to be honest with you. These sort of markets, and like I said, I think he's got pace. We badly need pace in the defence. He's got experience. He's won titles before. So I think you can see, even against Celtic, and you guys will totally agree because you're at the match and you're in the Broomloan, so you see it more, that our communication is dreadful still. And you were on about Jigger before. Him and Butland, there was one in the first half where Butland was where he should have been in the European game, and where Jigger thought he was, and it was Jigger's fault as well. And then there was one in the second half where Jigger just kicks the ball out the park, and then Butland's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And then Suter is just standing there with a lollipop in his mouth. Absolutely zero leadership skills whatsoever. So we badly need someone like Goldson used to be. For always Goldson's fault, he was at least sorting defence out and putting people in the right positions and stuff like that, as was Alan McGregor. And I'm surprised with Butland. I don't know, because Butland's a really good talker, so I don't know if he's talking and nobody's listening or what the story is, Gary. But our communication is very poor in our team, and especially in our defence, and that needs to get better. It's something that Martin has to improve, and we need to see a bit more togetherness in that defence. I mean, well, the defence was good against Celtic, but I think that was more because they were so poor than it was like any super duper magical tactics, to be honest. So hopefully we can get that sorted out, and if this guy can bring that leadership and a bit of experience, a bit of pace, he's a big specimen as well, so bring it on, and hopefully he can settle in and hit the ground running and bring that defence together.
So Scott, it looks like, and I may be wrong, and we all may be wrong, but there's less than 2 hours of the window to go. I'm not hearing much about any other potential signings, so we'll need to make do with it. 13, 14, was that, Ricky? I can't remember the number it was. Just need to make do with that. People are complaining on Twitter. I've seen about there not being enough.
14 in so far.
So huge turnover. We do still have some gaps, but I think everybody said a month ago you'll never do it all in one transfer window. We get to any transfer window, and everybody said
they tried, and listen, if the two boys win the day and they produce a good day, that's really good. The centre back's the one kind of wanted in the door, didn't they? Because we are struggling there. But I mean, people asking for a striker. I don't think we don't. I think you can play for like that this year. And still, until we see Majowski and Janiti scoring the goals, I think Finley's a natural finisher. I think the boy's a superb player, and I think he just needs time. He just needs games, and he'll prove to everybody how good he is. So I don't think we need another striker. I think we've got the fourth with him and Danilo and need to.
So in terms of the squad then, Scott, do you think that if that is the last two, in fact, very quickly, Cameron, is there anybody else that's going to sign the next hour and a half? Do you know anybody else that's
I wouldn't. I wouldn't get your hopes up, but I wouldn't be surprised if we signed that lad from Palace. Is it Raskin or something like that? I really wouldn't be surprised because we do lack that extra option out on the right wing. We really only have Ant-Man. We got three in Moore, Curtis, and Gassama. So I wouldn't be surprised if we were to see.
Forgot Abby Matondo there. Forgot Abby Matondo.
Oh, he'd be on a hospital bed, wouldn't
he? Yeah. So it's been, as you say, we're maybe lacking a little bit. But in terms of the squad and the squad depth, Scott, then are you quite content with where we're at? We've got 5 new defenders, 4 new midfielders, whatever it may be, and a couple of new strikers. I can't remember. But it's a lot of change.
There's a lot of change. You'll probably, if you look at it, the whole, we've done reasonably well in the window, but it's we need to start winning games. It doesn't really matter who's playing in the park and who the manager is. Like I said to you before, Gary, it's winning games of football. And that's the only thing I can turn everybody's opinion towards the manager and the players. And if they start doing that very quickly, then no narrative changes and we can start looking forward and start getting behind the team. And cause that's all we want to do. Listen, we can't hear moaning and groaning. People come in the chat and moaning and groaning, and you want to groan every day when you're speaking to other fans and stuff like that. But if we can start winning games of football, then things change. Because I think there's some decent players there. I think they're all decent players to a point. I think there's a really core of really good players and there's some really good signings. And I'm really excited for Miovski because I know how good he was at Aberdeen because I watched him quite a few times even when I wasn't watching Rangers. So I know how good he can be. So players like that is good to be at your club. And I think you said earlier, Gary, the fans wanted a full change in the game they call it. So let's just start winning games. That's all I want the club to do.
And Ricky, you were desperate, as you said, back in the before when Clement was gone and Barry was gone. You were saying burn the whole squad down, bring in a whole new squad. 14 players in, 15 players out. I think you've said potentially there's still a small number of players that are still there. Are you happy with the squad? Never forget the Russell Martin stuff, forget the tactical stuff, just in terms of incomings versus outgoings.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with the amount of business we've done, mate. To be honest with you, I'm super excited. I think it's. I'm very happy with all the players that went out as well. I thought we did really good business to get the money in as well, and I'm happy that we're probably looking at we spent really 10 million net when we come out of the window. I know we said that's not important on Friday and stuff like that, but we're in the Europa League again. So at the end of the day, you don't want the club losing money because the Yanks will they like their money, so they'll get bored soon enough if it's just a quick lose 10 million, lose 20 million, lose 10 million. They'll want to see things on an even keel as quick as possible, and I'm sure they'll be able to do that. So no, very excited with the players that were brought in and stuff like that. And we did a lot more business. I wasn't expecting as many players to leave, so I think they've done a great job with some of the dead wood that they've managed to get out as well. There's a few that are still kicking around that they're going to have to. I know King is still there, Nsiala is still there, who I would like to see back integrated to the squad, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Matondo's still there, so there is still some wasted wages there. But over the whole piece, we've moved out so many players, we've brought in so many players. And I could not agree with the Godfather Kerr anymore. What he says about it doesn't matter who the manager is, it doesn't matter who the players are. We are just so bored of talking on podcasts, negative nonsense. We want to be excited by a Rangers team. We want to see goals. We want to see good performances. Everything is there for this team. Everything is there for this manager. So come on, the window's closed now. Let's get it together, start performing on the park. He should have enough. Martin should be able to set up a system to beat the rest of these teams and then no worry about Celtic until we play them again. I'm not going to sit here and make bold predictions. We're going to win the next 5 games. I hate all that garbage, but we need to start see progression. Get wins is the most important. September, we need to see as many wins as possible and see what this team can do. He's been backed a lot more than probably a lot of us actually thought he was going to be, Gary, which is great. So now it's time to see it on the park, mate. And I think there is a chance that we could be going for the championship in May, but it's a bit early to be. You know, you've went early, Gary, but Kerr's laughing. So after the Hearts pod, it'll be Martin out again. We'll go champions, Martin out, champions, Martin out, champions, Martin out. So we will see, mate. But no, excited to get this international crap out of the way and then see what happens with this new squad. I think it'll calm down. The harmony in the camp will calm down even during the international break. I think he's been quite tough on the players as well. They've not had many days off and stuff like that. So I think once we get all the international players in the squad together and he starts getting that free midweek, I think you will start to see progression, mate. And that's what we want to see. And I think now I'm confident Rangers is going to go on a good run of victories, mate.
Yeah. And cheers for out me there, Ricky. And I said Rangers will win the league. That was that. I don't know what to tell anybody else that yet until a bit further down the line. Appreciate that. Cameron, you know, in terms of players going out, we've also Cortez has joined Sporting, I don't know, say Gijon, is it? In La Liga 2 for a season on loan, but no options, no obligations to buy. There was rumours about Inciala going to Daniel Kiev. Obviously, Dessers went to Panathinaikos for 3.7 million. I think you're really only left, and Bajrami's obviously staying because I think there's probably a role for him in the squad. So you're really only left with King, Matondo, as the ones that we wanted to see probably leave, or they wanted to leave.
Well, the problem is when you give someone like Matondo 30 grand a week, he thinks he deserves it. So he's probably looking at it from a perspective of why would he go anywhere else? We said it earlier today. Why would you go anywhere else? You're on 30 grand a week. You don't have to play. You don't have to do nothing. Just sit there. You big, fat, juicy paycheck. But I think when you have a squad turnover of this size, it's always going to take a bit longer for things to click. Because I don't, in my memory anyway, I've not seen a rebuild of this size at Rangers where there's been over 10 players leaving. The Cortez one is interesting because I really liked Cortez, but he's the same as Danilo. He looks like a player who's been out injured for a very, very long time. So I think him going out, getting some minutes, getting his confidence back, if we can sell him next season for what we bought him for, happy days. But bottom line is, if you're not going to play these players in the squad, get him staying, because I do think he has that bit of quality you could bring on in the last 15, 20 minutes to hit one from 30 yards or even just set a pass through. I do think he's got that little bit of quality, so I'm quite happy that he's staying.
No, I'm not a fan of Bajrami. I think he's got potential during that system. It actually might work for him. He's got the technical ability, he can pass the ball. He's another that's written off probably many, many times already. But certainly in terms of that number 8, it gives you, whether it's the first choice or not, it certainly gives you that kind of backup opportunity. So Cameron, what of the 14 signings, or however many it will be come the end of tonight, who do you foresee to be the standout? If you're pick one, who's the one that excites you the most?
I mean, none of them excite me massively. Gassama excited me at the start, but he seems to have fallen off. I'm gonna stick with Cameron, Lyle Cameron. I like what I've seen from him. His energy, he's bright, he's positive. He tries to take on board information. Quality-wise, maybe not there. I think Lyle Cameron, especially he was free, didn't cost us anything. He's the one that excites me the most. And also he's got a similar name as me, so that helps.
Yeah, so you just basically went for the simple options. It went for Cameron after kit for Cameron, right? Okay,
that's the one.
Scott, of the ones that excite you the most, you've talked a few times over the signings and certain ones you've liked and so forth. But now, who's the one that you're looking forward to seeing as the world settles down and we get into not beat game after game?
Miovski, simple. They signed a striker that can score goals, and that's what we were looking for. And that's what we got. And I haven't seen him do it in the league. I know he can do it. We all know he can do it up here. And that's a good thing. When you're buying somebody for someone else, you're hoping. But we all know he can do it. I know we'll create more chances for him, hopefully. We've not created a lot of chances this season, but hopefully in his previous club did. So, and he can, he can finish. He works hard. He makes intelligent runs. So I think overall he's been the best signing. I've still got high hopes for Asgard right now because I've seen a lot of him at Luton and especially at Wigan, and I always liked him as a player. So I'm hoping he can adapt to Scottish football and show us what he's got.
Yeah. Ricky?
Yeah, no, Gassama, Miovski, and the new striker we just brought in today. I'll say the three of them, attacking players, excitement. I mean, Ant-Man looked unbelievable on his debut, unbelievable. So we know there's a good player in there, but it's just we need to get the system right so these players can shine, mate. I think they've been badly let down, our wide players and our attacking players, by our midfield so far. And you can see that with Russell Martin. I think he's at 7 or 8 combinations he's been trying to get together to get that right balance. And that's probably why he's fallen out with Raskin, because the players are not being disciplined enough for what he wants for the system he's trying to play. So hopefully with this new player that we've brought in, the left back Cornelius just announced, brilliant. So if we can get a system, we get 2 strikers in the wide men and really go after teams, mate, I think this can be a really exciting Rangers team. We've got that freshness we wanted. And fair play, by the way, fair play to Tavernier. We've given him some stick. I think he's been outstanding outstanding. It's hard to say anyone's been outstanding the last few weeks, but he's been the one that's showed a little bit of this, a little bit of that grit and determination we talk about. I thought Barham was excellent against Celtic. So, and shout out to the old boys that are staying around with these new players in the squad. Hopefully we can get a good mixture and they mix together well, and then we start to see that progression we've been speaking about all pod. But if I had to pick one, it would definitely be Miovski, because I really liked him at Aberdeen. And then I really liked him in his performance against Celtic. He had one chance maybe that came to, and he headed it where he probably, if he let it go over his shoulder, it probably would have been one of them that he just had to get contact on, and it would have went past Michael. So that was the only, but he was really feeding on scraps, mate. But excited to see this new Rangers, this new team. After the break, we've got to see it, mate. And I just hope it's the Rangers don't let you down, Gary, and we'll win the league, mate. So let's go.
Scott, there's a question up here. What's Asgar's best position from James? You've seen more of him than most of us.
He can play attacking role in midway of the park. He can play left or right. He was given a free role at Wigan. He wasn't really in a set position. He just let him play, because some of the goals you scored, if you look at your highlights, I know it's not highlights, but some of the goals you scored are peaches, and you look and he just sat about the centre as well. He liked to play, and he was really good on the ball, Gary. He's got 2 good feet, but it's just getting used to Scottish football, and that's what I said earlier about players coming from England. It's some of them don't understand the Scottish game. They think it looks easy, maybe the tail, it's not as good, but I mean, knowing you how long it took Mark Kelly to settle, it took him a season or more, and he became a legend, didn't he? But his first season, he was getting a lot of abuse. It was just in social media back then, but he was getting a lot of abuse. Do you know what I mean? So I think he's got all the attributes you want as a footballer. He just needs to bring it to adapt it to Scottish football, which I think, well, hopefully he will, because I think the boy's very, very talented. I know Cameron's probably seen him as well, so you probably will tell you similar, but he's a very talented footballer.
He missed pre-season as well, Gary. You've got fans need to be a bit more patient with him. He missed half the pre-season, and he's still coming back from an injury. I hope they're really working on his fitness during this international break. And I don't think he's in the Norway squad, is he? I don't think he would be. I doubt it, because he's just came back for injury, so I doubt he'd be away with the Norway squad. I'll try to check that one out. But I think really work on his fitness the last 2 weeks, and fans just need to give him a bit of leeway, because it's tough when you miss half pre-season and then you're just chucked into European games and Celtic games. It's been a rude awakening for the kid.
He's away with Norway, so
he is away, is he?
That's some minutes as well.
Cameron, so you obviously watch a lot of English football. You have seen him quite a bit.
Seen him a couple of times, yeah. He's better as a 10, just behind the striker. He's a 6'2" physical guy. He's got good feet, so I think he should thrive in this league, to be quite honest. So I think him going away with Norway is probably not a bad idea, to be fair. It'll get him some match fitness, to be quite honest, if he can get some minutes. Might be better than him staying at home with Russell Martin. So no, 10 is absolutely his best position. But problem is, in Martin's current system, we don't play with 10s, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see him out on the left wing or going up front occasionally.
Yeah, it's that strange thing in football now. The two number 8s are actually could be arguably two number 10s as well. It's the way you play in Scottish games. You be number 10s as well. So that far up the park, it's using all these numbers positions all the time is a little bit confusing. I'm going to say that my one I'm looking forward to the most is Joe Rothwell actually coming and turning up and being the Joe Rothwell we all thought we were going to see, the Championship's best midfielder. So that's what we should be looking for. But as Scott says, I'm going to base it on the fact that maybe he's a bit of time to adjust to Scottish football, and once he does, he will maybe be able to display that level of ability that's been there throughout his career. Apparently, so here's hoping. But lots of players in, as Ricky says, about £30 million spent, and that's not including loan fees. It's not including fees for Cameron from Tribunal. So what you can't say, Scott, is that the Americans haven't invested this summer and brought in a lot of players and look to change the whole club.
They have, Gary, so I'm just hoping the man that they brought in first and foremost as a manager, he can adapt to Scottish football. He can adapt to Scottish football, because if he does, like I said to you before, Ricky will be in Glasgow at Christmas time, but Russell Martin will maybe.
Yeah, he can take over then. Is that what you're saying? He can take over the job.
I think he's worse. I think he's right.
Do you know what was interesting? Just aside, Ricky, we're talking about a lot of players going out. I've seen that Hadji and Lawrence still don't have a club yet.
I mean, Hadji thinking, his dad thinking that he's Barcelona and Real Madrid were going to be in for him now. He's struggling in Turkey to find anyone just to take him. I mean, that's why he was offered back to Rangers. But Hadji was too slow, it. Who?
Celtic are still looking for players.
So somebody said Celtic's in for Matondo. Someone put a belter the day that said Celtic sold Ida at 8 o'clock, and at 10 o'clock they bid 10 million to sign him back. Glassman. No, so yeah, no, we will see, mate. We will see. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So 2 weeks international break. We say back time for lots of players are away. So it'll be outstanding in his 2 international games, as he always is. No doubt, the back, passing the ball left, right, centre, siege defending like nobody's business. When you do come off the pod, everybody, please go and watch the Dessers video. Rangers have posted lots of goals. I'm assuming, Ricky, go and watch it on repeat before you.
No chance. I'm going straight to the journal.
We go straight to the journal. I don't know if there's anything else. Has anything else been happening with the camera and anything else you can think of that's been happening with Masters as we come to the end of the show?
It'll be the January window. We'll go keep going, mate. Jesus Christ.
Hang on.
No, all good, mate. I don't think anything else. Did Kerr give Cam that hat, man? I think Kerr will be loving Cam's hat. It's 2 moshers. You give him that? Did you send that hat down to him, Kerr?
No, I got that. I was up at ACDC in Edinburgh the other week. Yeah, queued up an hour.
I sold my tickets, but I was supposed to be there.
Some show.
Did you know you went to see them as well, no, Kerr? Did you not go and see them somewhere else or no?
No, not them. No, I've been to download a few times. I go to gigs all the time.
Aye.
Murrayfield.
They were at Wembley as well, ACDC. Were they? Would they play at Wembley as well? Aye.
Yeah, that's so, yeah.
Good.
I'm surprised they can still, like a lot of these bands, they can still sing. Whether they're 8-year-old each, a lot of minutes. It's,
These guys are professional, Gary. You pay your money to watch them because they're good.
Do you know what's about
like 2 Scotsons on stage?
There's no longer any legends in it. Do you know you don't get legends in music now? New musicians, they're not like the old ones. Footballers, they're not like the old ones from the 90s. They're all just in the same place.
Changed, mate. It's changed days. I don't know why that is. I think it's because it used to be record deals and all that sort of stuff. But nowadays it's all YouTube. They're all garbage, man. You know, everyone's. I better watch what I'm saying, but it's they're all trying to follow one set of music, and it's not very good, to be honest with you.
So anyway, transfer window days coming to a close in the best part of an hour and 20 minutes or so. Nobody else has signed in that little time. We're stalled for a moment or two, so I think that's probably enough for us to.
Are we going to do a pod on Friday? Just want to wait till next Monday, Gary?
I think we'll just wait till next Monday. We'll give everybody a little bit of a break. You know, take a night off. It's international night, isn't it? Is it Scotland, Denmark, or Denmark, Scotland, or whatever's happening? There's other things.
You're better telling me. I don't know that international fixture.
The only reason I know that is because a couple of guys asked me to go to the pub, and I'm not that bothered with football, but I'll go to the pub.
You can do a squad review on Monday and go look at all the players who've signed, and because then it'll be done. It'll be good, and then preview the Hearts game. I think's better.
Right, Ricky's just set the agenda for us for next week then, so we won't be back on Friday.
Perfect, man.
Saves us anything. So we'll be back next
That's if
Monday.
you not watch the journal.
That's we'll see that. Is there a late transfer request for there? Is that what you're saying? With another hour and a half to go, if we can transfer you over there?
Nah, mate, no chance. They've got too many podders on there, man. You know, I like to talk. I need to be on twice a week. No, twice every 3 months.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you do leave here, please, you can tune in the Rangers Journal Show there on 11 o'clock tonight. Previewing any event else does happen, they will be first to tell you. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the show. We will be back next Monday, and we will see you then. Good night.